May 2026. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. The only economic data that came out was around 11 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here. I guess it was the FOMC rate decision meeting minutes for last month. It didn't really do anything. And today, there was a lot of potential things that looked like it could set up, but they all fell short for me, my setups, because either the signal bar wasn't correct or it was kind of choppy in an area that was a little ambiguous. But I did mark a few possible trades and a few almost trades. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take any trades. It's kind of been what's been going on this whole lately. Just prices have been kind of really choppy and hard to find clean setups. I'm thinking it's probably just because maybe stuff with Iran, things just maybe summertime is coming up, or I just really don't know. But it just seems like it's just been not the easiest to find clean trades that I felt comfortable with. And it also could just be coming down to me, my lack of ability to read things correctly. So in the pre-market, looks like there was a sell-off bounce, almost looked like two messy legs up, then a messy leg down. Initially, it looked like it was moving up this green up channel, then turns into this red up channel. It was a possible trade, but I don't trade the pre-market because most likely I'm not awake or I'm not at my desk. But if this showed up in regular trading hours, I think it's a possible trade because even if you don't have the channel quite like this, it looks like it's two legs down with the first test of the EMA and a really nice signal bar. Nice two clean legs, good signal bar. I think that would have been a pretty decent trade. Prices hit the pre-market high, moves down this really sharp orange down channel, break, and starts moving down this more shallow orange channel. Now, while this is forming, I was playing this orange down channel, and it looked like it was one touch, two touch, kind of looked like it was following. There was an overshoot here, then pressed down. So looking strictly at the orange down channel, I have an overshoot and tested low. Then there's two first entry short, second entry short. This one looked like it was kind of a decent setup, but at the time, I also had this transparent channel drawn at the time. So when it broke out this first one, then it broke out this second one, I'm thinking maybe this channel is, I'm going to turn it red for now. Maybe the channel is actually this red one, and maybe this orange one isn't in play. But despite the fact, if I was playing the orange one, there's an overshoot, and if I was playing the red one, there's an overshoot. So it made me super reluctant to go short on the first second entry in the same direction as what the bias was. So I need a lower high. And you almost get a lower high here, but it never breaks below and doesn't turn out right. And it pushes back out. It moves up this green up channel, break to the high side. I tried to think maybe there was a secondary channel here, but it didn't look quite right. So I ended up deleting it because it doesn't really have that many confirmations. Low side, maybe 3, but it already violated it and pushed down through. Created a localized high. It's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. It looks like it's just moving down one big orange down channel. And if anything, this looks like it's one leg down here, up, then push down a second leg. I saw this in real time. I marked it with a black arrow because I was just thinking, is this a possible trade? But to be honest, I didn't have any justification other than, wanting to take a trade to justify it being a trade. It pushes up. Now, I'm not really sure this green channel is even valid anymore because it looked like it was following initially, but there's such a big overshoot, bigger than the size of the channel, that I really don't trust it at that point. I did think maybe I can extend it out to here, but this doesn't even look right now. So I kept it tight and just decided, okay, well, this was in play, but I don't really know what's happening now. It was a localized low. It's a first entry short. It gives you a second entry short. I thought this might have been a possible trade because it is a break of this orange down channel. And this orange down channel technically needs to test the low, although it tested here. It's like the first attempt down, pullback, second attempt. I like when the second entry short, the highs is actually lower, by this, where this count started. And there's enough room to the low. And there's enough room before I am worried about any potential bounce. Because my concern is maybe there's a bounce here because it maybe tried 2 times to break lower, but it couldn't. But there's enough room for a scalp here, so I thought maybe there's a trade there. It pushes down. It does a third touch confirmation of this trend line coming down. But it starts moving aggressively down on this orange down channel. Break and test the low. there's this transparent channel I never colored in because again, it doesn't look quite right. So I don't believe it's a valid channel right now. It's just key entry points off of maybe this resistance and maybe a support that I'd be looking for, but nothing set up. So it never became important. So it's a localized low. It starts reversing up. So first entry short, pullback, second entry short failure here, but this is hard to trust as a trade because it does look like two legs up, pushing and moving back up. By the time this guy closes, it closes at a new high. So I'm not willing to buy at this high. If this closed a little lower, then maybe there's a trade. It starts moving up. There's an overshoot here. It creates a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, and then you have a higher low. But I call this an almost trade because this is the pre-market high. So I'm thinking, am I in a gigantic range, maybe defined by this high, and maybe the low is here, or it could actually be the pre-market low, because this does look kind of rangy right now. Although it's a bearish, bullish bias, the range could actually be a little bit tighter, like maybe hitting the lows here. So I didn't really know. I just didn't like taking a higher low in this area that's a little ambiguous. Then here's a localized low, double bottom, first entry short pullback, second entry short, potential failure. But again, it's just a little congested, a little hard to trust whether this pre-market high should be trusted. Is this a failed breakout? Our price is going to come back down. I'm not 100% sure. For kind of a not the best clean setup, I didn't want to risk it. Pushes up and pushes back down. So now it's getting a little messy. So it's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short failure is kind of similar to what was going on here. So it's hard to really trust this because it is, this attempt was lower than this one. And it's since been deleted, but I was thinking, is there something going on here? Because it looked like it has three touch matching pretty well. And then I thought maybe we're in a range, not a range, but a channel. But this channel is too wide and too early to trust that prices are going to respect this highs and lows. So it's just something I was looking at. I've since deleted it because it just made my chart messier. So it pushes up. Failed second entry short would have worked, but it's an almost trade. I can't really trust it. Looks like it made a measured leg up. It pushes down and it starts moving sideways. So I saw a localized high. Again, this is just a channel that I wasn't sure if this should have been drawn tighter here with a breakout, or it should have actually been a little bit wider here. But it didn't really matter because then prices started moving sideways, and this is just really choppy. Has a failed breakout here. It's a first entry long pullback. You have technically have a second entry long here, but I didn't like that it didn't break below the previous. And then the only thing that could have saved it was if this closed at the high, but it didn't even close the high. Right before the close, you can see prices got sold all the way back down here. So that makes me extra cautious. So I was thinking maybe there's a count reset. So first entry short. I was hoping for a second entry short and then a lower high to continue back down here to go toward the lows to kind of match this leg, but that didn't formulate. Prices had a different idea, it just kind of kept moving up. It's kind of the high of day. It just gets choppy here, sells off, and then it's in this really tight range again. Rallies up, break of the green up channel, test the high. Technically, it's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. You do have a second entry long here, but it's a terrible signal bar. And even though you could argue there's a bounce off this support, this is a terrible, seeing this in real time, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence that I'm going to be in a range that I could buy anything off of. So first entry long, second entry long, I want to see a higher low in the next two candles, ideally to trust that it's going to move back up and the EMA is actually going to act as support. But you don't get that, it just flushes down. So it does look like it's one leg down pullback and then a second leg down. No clean setups here. It's a localized low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. I just marked this. There's nothing here, but I was tempted, at least briefly, to think, okay, maybe there's going to be a trade here because I like that it closed low. But I was probably just anxious, thinking, well, there's probably going to move down, but the EMA isn't really going to act as resistance. It's probably going to push back down to meet this measured leg, but there's no real justification or no real solid reasoning on why prices have to make this measured leg. It just made two legs down. So when prices make two legs down, There's no hard and fast rule that says it has to make a measured move. This could have been all it. So thinking that prices are going to move down was faulty, and I'm glad I didn't really act on it. But I just was drawn in by this nice signal bar, but it's an inside bar, so that was another thing going against it. So here it would have given me my 6-tick scalp, but that would have been a really risky, terrible trade. Then it moves up 2 legs. It's a localized high, say first entry long, pullback, kind of looks like a second entry long, maybe a failed breakout of this range, but it just feels noisy. Starts pushing down. I established this down channel. Initially, this was a tighter channel, but when it started violating quite a bit out here, then I extended it down. I thought, okay, this actually fits pretty well too. But even then, there's no clean setups. I'm looking for any kind of reaction off the EMA to try to take a trade off of. And fortunately, you don't get that. This is the first kind of like touch. Then it only gives you a first entry short. There's no second entry short here. This is localized support. Rallies up hard, pushes down, creates a visual first entry long pullback. Actually, it's not even visual. It's a technical second entry long. But this second entry long is almost trade because other than bouncing here, which was maybe a two touch confirmation, there's a long tail here. So I can't really trust that. And it reverses back up. At the time, I'm thinking I'm in a pretty nice range. This could be 1 leg down, 2 legs up, and then another nice leg down. So this could be a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Unfortunately, the signal bar isn't great. If it was red, coupled with failed breakout, then if the next candle was red, then I think there would have been a trade. So this next candle is red, but by the time this one closes, this green candle here for the failed breakout never set me up. Because if it was a first entry short, second entry short, and this green candle was red, I'd have an order ready and likely jumped in on this candle and then pushed down. But when this one closed, it engulfed this guy. I was thinking at the time, maybe I have enough time to quickly chase this trade. But when it opened, it kind of flushed down a little bit, and it pretty much got pretty close to the 6-tick scalp that I was unwilling to drop an order already. I wanted to kind of like pick up my order, oscillate a little bit, then flush down. But it opened right where it closed and then flushed down. Pretty much closely made the 6-tick scalp by the time I was debating it. And by the time, it did make the 6-tick scalp, I wasn't really going to try to jump in on this at that point. So it's kind of a missed opportunity. But unfortunately, the signal bar, didn't set me up for it. So no harm, no foul. Prices move up. Hits this other sideways consolidation, localized high, first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but looks more like a visual first entry. Pullback, second entry. Potential triple test right here. But as with the other setups today, this isn't a good signal bar. If this tail was chopped off and this was green, then I would probably consider taking the test taking the trade because it tests the EMA and it would have closed green. There'd be enough room for my 6-tick scalp. But when I see this in real time and it closes like this, there's no reason to try to enter the trade inside this signal bar when the signal bar is terrible. And I'm concerned about this potential resistance area. So it pushes out, hits the high, well, localized high. Looks like it's just one clean leg down, visual first entry long, pullback. This looks like a visual second entry long here, but it's also, by the technical count, a neo-localized swing high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. And I actually thought this was also a possible trade because it made this nice measured leg down. I do have this trend line drawn now. It's this blue one. I tried to turn it into a channel later, so it was actually all collapsed here, and I extended it up to here. I don't really trust it as a channel just yet, at least reliably, but I do trust this as a trend line support because it has 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch confirmation. Obviously, prices aren't hitting this line exactly and then bouncing, but there is a region of, go ahead and do that, like a region of support, a zone of support that prices are kind of respecting. So I thought this was a possible trade. Looks like a visual first entry, pullback, second entry, measured move made here, 2 legs down, decent signal bar. Not that concerned about the EMA. Then prices push up. There is a higher low here, but now it feels like the trade has already been made. I'm not going to try to chase something like that. Pushes up, comes back down to this region of support again. So localized high, first entry long. You technically get a second entry long here by the technical count, but it looks like a visual first entry, maybe pullback second entry, or bigger picture first and then second. And I thought this is also a possible trade. This actually should be second entry long. It's technically a second entry long and second entry long, a visual one on the bigger time frame, because per the count, this is a localized high. It's a first entry long pullback, breaks below, pushes back up, decent signal bar. So this is per technical first entry long, second entry long, also a visual first entry long pullback, second entry. Plus, you're hitting this trendline support zone, and I thought it was a, possibly a decent setup. Then prices continue moving up. I later drew this channel, but it doesn't really look quite right. I was thinking, is there kind of a measured move here? From here to here kind of makes it, but seeing something like this, I'm unwilling to try to take a short right here on clearly a bullish move up. So the whole day, it's been kind of bullish, but it's been a choppy bullish. And it just kind of sets up these setups that give you an almost feeling that you really wish something else would have just checked the box and it would have been a good setup. But unfortunately, it doesn't happen. And then it hits the last 30 minutes, and not taking any trades, I wasn't going to try to make anything happen in this zone. And there wasn't really that much to take a trade off of, because you could say visual first entry long, second entry long, but this is a doji. I'm not that confident seeing something like that. Plus, it's already timestamp, like only roughly 15 minutes left. So off a mediocre setup, I'm not willing to try to jump in on a trade with such little time left. And it just kind of moves into the close. So kind of it was a day that did, bounce around, and it just kind of gave us a whole bunch of almost setups, at least for me, that I really wished, everything just kind of checked the box. Maybe I'm being a little bit too, I guess, demanding on everything that has to happen for a trade setup to occur. Maybe a more aggressive trader probably could have taken some of these, but just for me, I just being extra careful. So hopefully that was helpful.